The ring-shaped world of Illyria shone like a piece of jewelry against the dark of space. Inside the great hall of the Galactic Council, the air was filled with sounds. There were clicks, hums, and deep rumbles as hundreds of beings from different worlds talked, argued, and made deals. In a quiet corner sat the human delegation. Their table was small and clean. Representative Lee Jun sat perfectly still, watching everything. He was a man who looked calm, but his eyes missed nothing. Next to him, his aide Kim Yuna read information on a screen. Her fingers moved quickly, sorting messages from across the galaxy. For many years, humans had been part of the council. They were not the loudest or the most flashy members. They were the helpful ones. When a world needed its atmosphere fixed, human terraforming ships arrived. When trade routes got clogged with space dust, human engineers cleared them. When two species wanted to fight over a small moon, human mediators talked them down. Humanity asked for little in return. They wanted peaceful trade and safe travel. The galaxy took their help and called them useful. Some of the older, prouder species even called them servants. Lee Jun did not mind the quiet insults. Peace was the goal. Peace was worth a few rude words. The main meeting began. The High Arbitrator, a being named Calyx, who looked like a large snake with fine scales, called for order. "We address the Galfin matter," Calyx said, his voice a dry hiss. The Galfins were a new species. They had just learned to travel between stars. On their homeworld, they found a special kind of rock. This rock could be used for powerful energy, but it was dangerous. The Galfins did not know how to mine it safely. They broke a big council rule about mining it. "The law is clear," said another council member, a bulky creature with a shell. They broke the rule. The punishment is orbital bombardment. We must destroy the mining areas and the cities near them. To make an example, Lee Jun felt his stomach tighten. He knew the report. The cities near them were homes to millions. They were families, children. He stood up. Every eye in the room turned to him. "High Arbitrator," Jun said, his voice even and clear. "There is another way. Rule 7 Alpha allows for teaching and help. The Galfins are new. They are not enemies. They made a mistake. Humanity offers to send a team. We can build a safe zone around the mines. We can teach the Galfins the right way. There is no need to kill anyone." A low noise of disapproval moved through the room. Calyx looked at Jun, his head tilting. "Representative Lee, your kind's love for weaker things is noted, but it is a waste of time. The Galfins are not important. Their world is rich in resources we need. Removing them is efficient. The bombardment will happen." They took a vote. It was not even close. Almost every hand, claw, or tentacle rose in agreement. The bombardment would happen. Jun sat down, his face like stone. Yuna leaned close. "We tried, sir. It was all we could do." The meeting ended. Jun and Yuna walked back to their rooms in the human embassy. The embassy was not big or fancy. It was simple, like most human things here. That night, Jun could not sleep. He sat at his window, looking at the strange stars. A secure message arrived on his private screen. The symbol of Earth Command glowed. He opened it. The face of Admiral Park Min appeared. Park Min was an older man. His hair was short and gray. His eyes were hard like black rock. "Lee Jun," the Admiral said, no greeting. The bombardment happened. "It is done." Jun nodded slowly. "Were the Galfins in the cities?" They were. Park Min's mouth was a thin line. The council ships did not just hit the mines. They targeted population centers. They said the cities were using the dangerous energy. They said the schools were energy hubs. They are all gone, Jun. Our early counts say 15 million lives ended. A cold silence filled the room. June could hear his own heart. 15 million. He thought of his own home city, Bizen, by the sea. He tried to imagine it gone, silent. He could not. There is more, Parkman continued. The Council has sent new orders. They are taking our terraforming fleets. All of them. For a project they call the harmonization. They want to change the air on 23 of our colony worlds. Change it to suit the core species. Our people on those worlds would need suits to breathe outside. They would lose their homes. They say it is for the greater galactic good. June stared at the screen. The peace he had worked for, the patience, the turning of the other cheek, it had led here. To this, the Council saw humanity not as partners, but as a tool. A tool that did not say no. A resource that did not run out. They thought they could take, and humanity would keep giving. They thought the well of forgiveness was bottomless. What do we do? June asked, his voice quiet. We stop, Parkman said. The words were simple, but they carried a weight that shook the room. The United Earth government has voted. We are leaving. We are stepping away. We recall everything. Every ship, every engineer, every healer, every teacher. They have one moon cycle to get their people out of our space. After that, our borders are closed. They will call it an act of war, June said. Let them, Parkman replied. They have already made war on the innocent. They just do not know they are at war with us yet. They think we are soft. They think we will come back, begging. They are wrong. The Admiral leaned closer to the screen. Your job is to make the withdrawal clean. Do not argue. Do not threaten. Just leave. Una will wipe all our data from their systems. Leave them nothing of ours behind. Can you do this? June looked at the star map on his wall. He saw the dots of light that were human colonies, trade routes, outposts. He thought of the Galfin children, who would never see another sunrise. He thought of the families on those 23 colony worlds, being told the air itself was being taken from them. Yes, Admiral, Lee Jun said, a new strength in his voice. I can do this. Good, Parkman said. Make it quiet. Make it total. Then come home. We have much work to do. The screen went dark. June sat for a long moment in the quiet. Then he called for Kim Una. She entered, her face showing she had not slept either. Una, he said. Start protocol silent return. Open no new talks. Make no new deals. Begin the data purge. We are going home. Una's eyes widened for a second, then hardened with understanding. She nodded. Right away, Representative. As she worked, June prepared his final speech to the Council. He would not yell. He would not accuse. He would simply state a fact. Humanity was leaving. The helpers were done helping. In the halls of power on Illyria, the great species slept or schemed, unaware that the foundation of their comfortable galaxy was about to silently remove itself. They were about to learn what happened when the ones who built the peace decided to take it with them when they walked away. The Council was not worried. Not yet. Representative Lee Jun's announcement of withdrawal was met with annoyance, then amusement. The High Arbitrator Calyx dismissed the chamber after Jun's short, calm speech. A tantrum, Calyx hissed to his aides. They will cool off. Their economy needs our markets. Their people crave our culture. They will be back within a cycle, their tails between their legs. Across the galaxy, a different machine began to move. It was silent and precise. It did not announce its actions. It simply acted. On the desert world of Maruk, a massive atmospheric processor hummed. It was a human machine, a great dome of silver metal, the size of a mountain. For 50 years, it had breathed life into the dead air, making it sweet and thick for the native Maruki. A human engineer named Choi Min stood at the control console inside. He got the message on his secure pad. A single word, return. He did not smile or frown. He pressed a sequence of buttons. The great hum began to lower in pitch. Lights on the console switched from blue to a soft, pulsing yellow. A Maruki supervisor, his fur bristling, rushed in. What is happening? The pressure is dropping. Choi Min turned. He had worked with this Maruki for 10 years. They had shared meals. I am sorry, Car. My people are calling me home. The processor is in standby mode. It will maintain basic stability for 1 lunar cycle. After that, it will shut down. Your people have the manuals. The knowledge is yours. You must take over now. He handed Car a data crystal. Then he picked up his small bag and walked toward the landing bay where his shuttle waited. Behind him, the Maruki cried out in confusion, but Choi Min did not look back. The same scene played out on 100 worlds. On the ocean planet of Shalana, human hydro-engineers recalled their fleet of filter ships that kept the toxic balloons at bay. On the bustling trade hub of Nexus Prime, human traffic controllers logged out of the central grid for the last time, leaving the complex orbital dance of ships to the Council's own less practiced systems. Kim Yuna, back in the human embassy on Illyria, worked through the night. Her fingers flew across her console. She was not a soldier, but what she did now was a kind of warfare. She accessed the galactic datanet, the nervous system of civilized space. Human minds had built its best parts. Human code kept it running smoothly. She began the extraction. It was not a deletion, not a hack. It was a careful, total removal. Every line of human-written software was gently peeled back, its function replaced by a simpler, less efficient Council-built alternative. It was like removing a brilliant, complex engine from a vehicle and putting back the old, basic motor. The vehicle would still run, but it would be slow, clumsy, and prone to breaking down as she worked. She saw the first alerts pop up in Council channels. Gravimetric lane stability failing in Sector 8. Communications lag increasing on the rim routes. She allowed herself a small, cold smile. They were starting to notice the silence. The final physical act was the recall of the terraforming fleets. These were humanity's greatest gifts. Great ships that could gentle a raging storm, seed clouds on a dry world, or coax a magnetic field from a dead core. They were scattered across the spiral arm, doing the quiet work of making dead rocks lev. One by one, they powered down their world-shaping beams. They turned their noses toward home. They slipped into faster-than-light travel and vanished. June's job was to be the calm face. Council members stopped him in the wide, gleaming halls. "This is foolish, human," a Velner diplomat snarled, his scaled snout close to June's face. "Your trade will collapse. You will starve. We will manage," June replied each time, his voice polite and empty. The day came for the last human ship to leave Illyria. It was a simple transport shuttle. June and Yuna walked through the empty embassy. The rooms were spotless, stripped of everything personal. All that remained were the standard-issue chairs and tables. It looked like no one had ever lived there. At the spaceport, a small crowd of Council observers had gathered. They watched, some with curiosity, some with scorn, as the two humans walked up the ramp. Calyx himself was there, towering over the others. "This is a mistake, Representative Lee," Calyx said, his voice loud so all could hear. "You are abandoning your duty. You are leaving the peace we built." June stopped at the top of the ramp. He turned and looked down at the crowd of alien faces. He felt a strange calm. "We are not abandoning peace, High Arbitrator," he said, his words carrying in the thin air. We are taking it with us. You confused our patience with weakness. You mistook our help for a right. You have shown us what your peace is built on. We want no part of it." He turned and entered the shuttle. The door sealed with a soft hiss. Inside, Yuna was already at the pilot's seat. "All systems are green. The last data link is severed. We are dark to them. Take us home," June said. The shuttle lifted off, its engines whisper quiet. It rose through Illyria's artificial sky, through the atmospheric shield, and into the black of space. Below, the Council world glittered, unaware of the coming storm. The first week of human absence was quiet. Then problems began to bloom. The grav lanes, the superhighways for ships, relied on human stations to adjust their subtle fields. Without adjustment, the lanes began to kink. Travel times between stars increased. A journey that took 2 days now took 5. Trade schedules fell into chaos. The great agri-worlds, whose climates were perfectly balanced by human systems, began to wobble. A frost came where it should not. A rain did not stop. Food production forecasts dropped sharply. The Council's response was not concern, but anger. They saw it as sabotage. They sent demands to human space, messages shouting about breaches of contract and galactic law. The messages bounced back. The quantum com channels, maintained by human relays, were dead. Humanity had closed its doors and turned off the lights on the porch. The Kroth, a warlike species, pushed for action. "They have stolen from us. They have attacked galactic stability. We must send a fleet to their border. We must show them the cost of this defiance." A fleet was assembled. Not the full might of the Council, but a show of force. 20 Velnir warships, heavy with plasma cannons, were sent to the human border colony of New Daegu. The idea was simple: appear in orbit, issue demands, and when the helpless humans agreed, the Council would have won. It would be a quick, clean lesson. On the bridge of the Velnir flagship, Commander Gors watched the blue-green world of New Daegu grow larger. His sensors scanned. He saw the signs of a soft agricultural colony, orbital habitats for farming, solar panels, small transport ships, no weapon platforms, no defensive fleet. Just as he expected, he opened a channel to the surface. "People of New Daegu, this is the Galactic Council Pacification Force. You are in violation of galactic accords. You will reopen your borders and submit to Council authority immediately. Transmit your surrender codes." There was a pause. Then a voice came back. It was calm and young. "Velnir Fleet, this is Captain Kim Tae of the New Daegu Orbital Stewardship. You are trespassing in sovereign human space. You are not authorized to be here. Please depart." Gors snorted. "Or what human? We see no defenses. We see no fleet. You have nothing." "You are mistaken," Captain Kim Tae said. His voice was still polite, like a teacher correcting a small error. "Please observe." Space around the Velnir fleet shimmered. It was like heat haze on a desert. From the nothing, shapes appeared. Smooth, elegant ships with clean lines. They were not bulky and threatening like Velnir warships. They looked more like sharp, dark leaves. 5 of them. They positioned themselves between the Velnir fleet and the planet. Their weapons did not power up with a loud whine. They simply glowed with a soft, white light. Our scanners read nothing. Gors's sensor officer yelled. "They were not there. You will target that asteroid, 1 light second away," Captain Kim Tae's voice said, as if giving a demonstration. One of the human ships fired. A beam of pure white light, silent and precise, lanced out. It hit the small, barren asteroid. The asteroid did not explode in a fiery blast. It simply came apart every molecule separating from the next, turning into a wide cloud of harmless gray dust that drifted apart in the sunlight. A cold silence fell on the Velner Bridge. Their own weapons were designed to blast and burn. This was something else. This was complete, clean, and terrifying erasure. Your ship's shields are designed for energy and kinetic impact, Kimte explained. Our weapons are different. We suggest you leave. This is your final courtesy. Commander Gores clenched his fists. He had orders to show strength. But this was not a fight. It was a display. He was outmatched, and he knew it. With a growl of pure humiliation, he gave the order. Turn the fleet around. Set course for Illyria. The human ships did not pursue. They simply watched as the Velner retreated. Then their hulls shimmered again, and they vanished, as if they had never been there at all. On Earth, in a deep command center, Admiral Park Min watched the report from New Daegu. He gave a slow nod. The first move was made. The Council had tested the door and found it made of solid steel. They would be back, and next time, they would not knock. They would try to break the door down. And that, Park Min thought, is when they will learn what we have been building all these quiet years of peace. The return of the humiliated Velner fleet sent a shock through the Galactic Council. The story spread quickly, passed from ship to station. The humans were not defenseless. They had hidden ships. They had weapons that turned rock to dust. The calm, helpful facade had cracked, and something hard and cold shone through. On Illyria, the mood shifted from amusement to outrage. The Croth ambassador, a being of sharp angles and a louder voice, pounded the council table. They attacked a council force. This is an act of war. We must answer with total force. Crush them before this defiance infects others. Other voices were more cautious, but the call for action grew. The council had to save face. They could not let a species they saw as servants tell them no. A consensus formed. They would gather a real fleet, a fleet to end the human problem for good. They chose a target. Chelson V? Chelson V was a human agricultural world. It was a soft target, a breadbasket. Scans showed no major defenses, no shipyards, no orbital fortresses. It was perfect. The plan was simple. The Grand Pacification Fleet would descend on Chelson V. They would surround the planet. They would issue an ultimatum, surrender completely, dismantle all weapons, and rejoin the Council under strict control, or they would burn the farms from orbit. They believed humans, who loved their peaceful gardens, would break. They had to break. While the Council prepared its war, deep inside human space, a different kind of work was being finished. Admiral Park Min stood in the heart of the solar shipyards around Mars. Before him, floating in the dark, was the Unyielding. It was the first of a new class of ship, built not for conquering, but for protecting. Its design was smooth, its weapons almost hidden. It did not look angry. It looked certain. Report, Park Min said, his hands clasped behind his back. His executive officer, Commander Choi Hwan, stood beside him. Choi Hwan was younger, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. The final layer of armor is set, Admiral. The new gravity drive is online. The fleet is ready. 72 capital ships, 300 support vessels. All hidden, all waiting. And Project Hearth? Park Min asked. Operational. Dr. Lee Soo-bin reports the planetary shield network is sensed. If they fire on one world, the energy is shared and dissipated across all 70 core worlds. It would take a miracle to punch through. Park Min nodded. The strategy was simple. They called it the turtle and the spear. Humanity would be the turtle, its shell impossibly hard. And when the enemy tired itself against the shell, the hidden spear would strike, once and with perfect precision. The Council's Grand Fleet was a spectacle of might. 10,000 ships from a dozen species gathered at the edge of Council space. They were ships of war, covered in gun ports and shield projectors. They were meant to be seen, to inspire fear. They made the long, slow jump toward human space, toward Chelson V. On Chelson V, life went on as always. Farmers tended to vast fields of golden grain that swayed in the gentle engineered breeze. Children played in small towns with red roofs. In the capital, people walked in parks. They knew the fleet was coming. They had been told to stay calm. They trusted their people to protect them. There were no panic, no riots. Only a quiet waiting. The Grand Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Chelson system. Space around the blue and green world was empty, quiet. The human fleet was nowhere to be seen. The Croth commander, leading the assault, grinned. Just as we thought. They have hidden. They are hoping we will not strike a civilian world. Foolish. Open a channel to the planet. The message went out. People of Chelson V, you are surrounded by the might of the Galactic Council. Your leaders have betrayed galactic peace. You will surrender unconditionally. Transmit your full submission within 1 hour, or we will begin orbital bombardment. Your fields will burn. Your cities will melt. Choose wisely. The reply did not come from the planet. It came from a single small ship that suddenly appeared between the fleet and the world. It was a simple shuttle, unarmed. Its signal was clean. Grand Fleet of the Council. This is Kim Yuna, speaking for humanity. You are trespassing in sovereign space. You have 2 choices. You may leave now with no further consequence. Or you may follow me to a standard orbit around Chelson V to witness a demonstration. You have 5 minutes to decide. On the flagship bridge, the commanders argued. It is a trap. The Croth roared. Destroy that shuttle and begin the bombardment. No, a wiser Tellurian advisor said. They offer a demonstration. Let us see it. Our sensors see no hidden ships, no weapons. Our fleet can destroy the planet at any moment. Let us see their trick, then crush them. It will demoralize them completely. Arrogance won, as it often does. They agreed to follow the shuttle. They moved forward, a vast armada of destruction, trailing behind one tiny human craft. They settled into a high orbit. The planet lay below them, beautiful and peaceful. They could see the farms, the towns, the sparkling seas. It looked like a painting. It looked helpless. Well, human? The Croth commander broadcast. We are here. We see your undefended world. What is this demonstration? Do you plan to cry for mercy? No, Kim Yuna's voice replied. The demonstration is of consequence. Then it began. From the surface of Chelson V, 1,000 points of light erupted. They were not weapons fire. They were pillars of brilliant blue-white energy, shooting up from seemingly random places, from a hilltop, from the middle of a lake, from a town square. They rose into the sky and met at a point high above the planet. There, they fused together, weaving a pattern of light. The pattern spread faster and faster until it formed a shimmering honeycomb-like shell that encased the entire world. It hummed with a deep, quiet power. The iron veil was active. Before the council commanders could even shout an order, space around their mighty fleet twisted. It was not an attack. It was as if space itself had become liquid and was suddenly stirred by a giant hand. Hidden human ships, not decloaking but activating immense gravity field generators, created a storm of gravity wells. The Grand Fleet was thrown into chaos. Ships that were neatly lined up now slammed into each other. Engines screamed as they tried to fight the unpredictable pull. Formation, their great strength, was gone in an instant. They were a herd of animals caught in a tidal wave. Then, the second act. On every council ship, from the largest dreadnought to the smallest support vessel, control screens flashed urgent, pulsing red. A message appeared in clear, simple galactic script. The same message on every screen, in every language. Ethical limiter engaged. Weapons systems locked. Engineering stations reported catastrophic shutdowns. The great plasma cannons went dark. The missile bays refused to open. The shields flickered once, twice, and died. Even the main engines sputtered and dropped to a powerless idle. In less than a minute, the Grand Pacification Fleet became 10,000 floating pieces of metal, dead in the water. Panic flooded every bridge. Admiral Park Min's face appeared on every main view screen. He looked calm, almost sad. Grand Fleet of the Council, your technology is advanced. Your weapons are powerful. We know. We helped you build them. 70 years ago, when we gave you the plans for your zero-point energy taps, we included a safety feature. A simple piece of code. An ethical limiter. It prevents your weapons from being used for the mass slaughter of innocent, non-combatant life. You activated that limiter yourselves when you bombarded the Galfin homeworld. Today, it has simply judged you again. You are the aggressors against a peaceful world. Your war is over. The silence on the council bridges was total. It was the silence of utter defeat. They had not been outfought. They had been outthought. They had been using a leash for decades, and they never knew the other end was in human hands. Then, from the human ships hidden by gravity and stealth, smaller craft emerged. They were not fighters. They were tugs. Sturdy, functional ships with powerful grapplers. They moved into the chaotic mess of the VI Council fleet and began attaching tow cables to the disabled dreadnoughts. What are you doing? The Tellurian commander screamed over the open channel, his voice filled with terror. You came for a demonstration, Admiral Park Min said, his voice still calm. You are now witnessing the cleanup. Your vessels are forfeit. They will be towed to a holding area beyond our border. Your crews will be provided with life pods and supplies to call for help. Your ships will be broken down. The materials will be used to help rebuild what you have destroyed. Consider it reparations. The galaxy watched, through long-range probes and stunned news feeds, as the greatest fleet ever assembled was led away like a chain of sad, broken toys. Not a single human ship had fired a shot. Not a single human life had been lost. The Council's power, its pride, its threat, had been dismantled with a quiet click of a switch they never knew existed. On Shelson V, the golden grain still swayed in the breeze. The children still played. The iron veil slowly faded, its job done. The message was sent, not in fire and noise, but in silence and light. Humanity was not just peaceful. They were protected. And they had been protecting everyone else from the Council too. That protection was now over. Silence was the new power in the galaxy. The silent departure of the Grand Pacification Fleet, towed away by unassuming human tugs, was a shock that traveled faster than light. One moment, the Council was the unshakable master of all. The next, it was a laughingstock, its greatest weapons turned to useless metal, its authority broken by the species it called servants. On Illyria, the council chamber was a tomb. The usual hum of debate was gone. Ambassadors sat in their pods, their postures slumped, their eyes downcast. High Arbitrator Calyx looked smaller, his scales dull. The Croft ambassador was not pounding the table. He was staring at his hands, as if they no longer belonged to him. The news feeds showed the same images on loop, the shimmering shield around Chelson V, the chaotic tumbling of the great fleet, the calm human tugs doing their work. The galaxy was watching, and it saw weakness. The first cracks appeared quickly. The Velner, proud warriors, announced they were recalling all their remaining fleets to protect their own home systems. They did not trust the Council's security anymore. The agri-cartel, facing famine as their human-tuned worlds began to fail, sent angry demands for reparations. Smaller species, who had always been quiet, started to whisper about leaving the Council altogether. The Foundation was crumbling dot in the middle of this silence. A single human shuttle requested permission to land on Illyria. It carried one passenger. Representative Lee Jun had returned. He walked through the grand halls alone. The beings he passed did not meet his eye. Some looked away in shame. Others watched him with a new, cold fear. He was no longer the helpful mediator. He was the man who had broken the galaxy without raising his voice. The council session was called just for him. Every seat was full. The air was thick with tension. June stood at the same small podium. He placed a simple data crystal on it. The click echoed in the quiet room. High Arbitrator. Members of the council, June began. His voice was the same as always, calm, clear, and without anger. This calmness was now more terrifying than any shout. You have seen the consequences of your choices. The fleet you sent to terrorize a peaceful world has been retired. Its crews are safe. They will be returned to you shortly. He paused, letting the words sink in. They had expected blame, rage, threats. They were not getting any. Humanity has no interest in ruling you. We do not seek revenge. The captured vessels will be dismantled. Their materials will be used to help the Galthan survivors rebuild. A murmur went through the chamber. Survivors? June continued. Yes, survivors. In the weeks after your bombardment, while you celebrated your efficiency, human rescue teams were on the ground on the Galthan homeworld. We evacuated just over 200,000 souls from the deep bunkers and the remote highlands you ignored. They are now under our protection. They are the seed of a people you tried to erase. A wave of shock hit the room. The act had not been clean. It had not been efficient. The humans had been there, picking up the pieces, saving what they could. The moral high ground, which the council had always claimed, was gone. This crystal, June said, gesturing to it, contains two things. First, the complete schematics for the ethical limiter within your own technology, and the codes to remove it. The choice is now yours. Keep the safety feature that prevents the slaughter of innocents, or remove it and return to being what you have become. We will not control you. He looked at Calyx, then at the Croth, then at each of them in turn. The second file is the full, unedited sensor logs of the Galthan bombardment. Your own logs, which you classified. It shows the targeting of schools, of hospitals. We are releasing it to the public galactic data net in 1 hour. The galaxy deserves to know the truth of the peace you enforced. Panic erupted. You cannot. A Tellurian screeched. It will cause chaos. The chaos is already here, June replied softly. You sowed it. Now you reap it. We are not causing it. We are simply turning on the light so everyone can see. He took a step back from the podium. This was his final act in this room. Humanity is now stepping away. Not from peace, but from you. We will remain in our space. Our borders are closed to all Council military vessels, forever. Trade may resume, but on new terms. Terms of absolute equality. No hidden clauses. No demands. Fair exchange, or no exchange at all. The Croth ambassador found his voice, a ragged growl. You are leading us in ruin. You are cowards, walking away from the mess you made. June finally showed a flicker of something. Not anger. Something colder. Pity. We are walking away from the mess you made. We propped up your system for generations. We cleaned up your wars, fed your people, fixed your mistakes. All we asked was for you to be better. You chose instead to be worse. So now, you get to live in the world you built, without our help." He picked up the data crystal and held it out. No one moved to take it. After a moment, he placed it back on the podium. "Do not contact us again," Li Jun said, his final words falling like stones. "Not until you have learned the lesson. True strength is not in the power to destroy. It is in the will to protect and the wisdom to know when to walk away from those who abuse your kindness." He turned and walked out of the chamber. The great doors hissed shut behind him. The silence he left behind was louder than any explosion. Outside, his shuttle waited. Kim Yuna was already in the pilot's seat. "It is done?" she asked. "It is done," Jun said, sinking into his seat. He felt a deep tiredness, but also a weight was gone. The weight of pretending these beings were worthy partners. As the shuttle lifted off, Yuna glanced at a secondary screen. The data packet has been released. It's spreading through the net like a virus. The news channels are already going wild. June looked out the viewport as Illyria shrunk below them. He could imagine the chaos unfolding in the chamber. The accusations, the panic, the crumbling of a 1,000-year-old lie. It was not his concern anymore. On Earth, Admiral Park Min watched the same data streams in his command center. The galactic communications were alight with the truth. The suffering of the Galfins, the cold calculus of the bombardment, was now public. Protests erupted on 100 Council worlds. Alliances were breaking. The Council was fighting for its very life, not against an enemy fleet, but against the disgust of its own people. And now? Commander Choi Hwan asked, standing beside him. "Now," Park Min said, turning away from the screen, "we go back to work. We build our own future. We watch and we wait, and we keep our shield strong. They will either learn from this and build something better, or they will tear each other apart. Either way, humanity is safe. We have stepped away, finally." The human shuttle jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the glittering, fracturing Council behind. Ahead lay the quiet, fortified space of home. A peace they had won not by conquering others, but by finally refusing to clean up after them. It was a harder peace, a lonelier peace, but it was theirs. And for the first time in a long time, it was built on a foundation they could trust, their own strength and their own choice to be kind only to those who deserved it. A standard year passed. In human space, the silence was not empty. It was full. The shipyards around Mars and Jupiter hummed, not with the noise of building dreadnoughts, but with the quieter sound of constructing new colony ships, deep space telescopes, and cultural exchange vessels meant for the few friendly species who had also left the Council. The SHIELD network, Project Hearth, stood watch like a silent sentinel. Children on Chelson V played under a sun that was once a target. They did not think about it. Their safety was a fact of life, like the air. On the border world of New Daegu, Captain Kim Tae walked through a thriving hydroponics garden inside the main orbital station. His job was now one of welcome, not defense. A small trade vessel from the independent Maruki people was docking. They came to exchange mineral samples for human medical technology. It was a quiet, fair deal. No threats. No grand speeches. Just business between neighbors. Admiral Park Min sat in his office on Earth. Reports scrolled on his screen. Economic stability. Positive. New colony development. Ahead of schedule. Morale. High. The Great Withdrawal was now just called the Step. History was being written. He closed the reports and opened a different file. It was a simple message from a deep space probe, one sent to watch the old Council space. The message was just data, numbers and signals. He had an analyst, a young woman named Park Ji-hai, to explain what it meant. "The chaos is settling, Admiral," Ji-hai said, pointing to graphs on the wall screen. "The Galactic Council. It doesn't really exist anymore. Not as it was. After our data release, the public outrage was massive. The Kroth were expelled. The Tellurian leadership was overthrown. It's now a loose, talking shop, a forum for complaints. They have no real power, no central fleet. And the others?" Park Min asked. "The Velner have fortified their own borders. The agri-cartel is trying to relearn how to manage their own ecosystems. It's messy. They are struggling. But they are not starving. They are just having to do the work themselves for the first time in centuries." Park Min nodded slowly. "And the Galphans?" A small smile touched Ji-hai's lips. She switched the screen. It showed a green world with simple, elegant structures rising among tall forests. "The survivors are doing well. They have settled on the world we found for them. They call it Second Dawn. Our engineers are there, teaching, not doing. The Galphans are quick learners. They send their thanks. Again." "That is good," Park Min said. That was the only part of the report that warmed him. The rest was just confirmation of a lesson learned the hard way. Meanwhile, on the edge of what was once council space, a single ship moved slowly. It was a Velner scout vessel, old and patched. Its commander, an old warrior named Karaz, who had fought in the battle for Chelson V, had a final duty. His government, humbled and desperate, had asked him to do what was once unthinkable. They asked him to request an audience. He approached the human border beacon, a silent marker floating in the dark. He hailed it, his voice rough. "Human border station. This is Velner scout vessel Truth Seeker. We request permission to send a diplomatic delegation. Not to demand. To talk. If you are willing." There was a long pause. Kara's expected a cold refusal, or worse, the sudden appearance of those terrifying smooth ships. Instead, a calm human voice replied, "Velner vessel Truth Seeker. This is Border Steward Lee Ji-hoon. We acknowledge your request. Stand by for coordinates for a neutral meeting zone. Your delegation will be limited to 3. Your ship will be scanned. Do you agree?" Karis felt a shock. It was not a yes, but it was not a no. It was a condition, a fair one. "We agree," he said, the words strange in his mouth. "We agree to your terms." The coordinates came. It was a barren system with a single rocky planetoid. When the Velner shuttle arrived, a single human ship was already there. It was not a warship. It was a diplomatic cruiser, its lines clean and peaceful. A docking tube extended dot inside a meeting room. Karas and his 2 aides faced 3 humans. The head human was a woman he did not know. Her name was Ambassador Song Yoon-ji. She was older, with kind eyes that held no fear. "You requested a talk," she said. "We are listening." Karaz had practiced a speech about shared history and galactic community. The words died in his throat. He looked at the humans, who waited patiently. They did not gloat. They did not seem angry. They were just there. He decided to tell the truth. "Our people are struggling," he said, his voice low. "We relied on the council system. We relied on you. We forgot how to do things for ourselves. We are not asking for your help, not the old way. We are asking if you would consider selling us knowledge, basic engineering texts, ecological management guides. We will pay. In resources, in labor, we need to learn to stand again." Song Yoon-ji listened. She then spoke, not to Karis, but to one of her aides. Access the public educational database. Tier 1, non-military, sustainability, and infrastructure packages. She looked back at Karas. The knowledge you seek for basic survival and stability is not for sale, Commander Karas. His heart sank. It is free, she finished. It has already been transmitted to your ship's public receiver. It is a gift. Consider it a seed. What you build from it is up to you. Karas was stunned. Why? After what we did? Because we are not you, Song Yoonji said simply. We help, that is who we are. But we choose who we help and how we help. We help those who wish to build. We do not help those who wish to destroy. The choice of what to do with this seed is yours. Build a better world. Or do not. That path is now your own. The meeting was over. It lasted 10 minutes. As Karas returned to his shuttle, his mind was reeling. There was no treaty, no surrender. Just a gift of knowledge, given freely, but with a clear, unspoken boundary. Do not come to us again with threats. Come with a desire to build, or do not come at all. Back on Earth, Park Ming received the report of the meeting. He read Ambassador Song's summary. He approved. This was the new way. The door was not open, but a window was cracked. A window through which they could pass tools, not weapons. The message was clear. Humanity had moved on. They were looking forward to the stars beyond the old. Petty empires. Lee Jun stood on a balcony of his home in a quiet, coastal town on Earth. The sun was setting over the Pacific, painting the sky in colors of orange and purple. Kim Yuna joined him, handing him a cup of tea. Do you ever think about them? Yuna asked, looking at the stars beginning to appear. Less and less, Jun said honestly. I think about what we are building instead. I think about the new colony ship leaving for the Orion Nebula next week. I think about the Galfin children on Second Dawn who will never know a bomb. He took a sip of tea. It was warm and calming. They taught us a hard lesson, he said. That peace is not something you can give to others. It is something you must build for yourself and protect. So that is what we are doing. We stepped away from their poisoned peace. Now we are walking toward our own. In the darkening sky, a single point of light moved steadily. It was one of the new human exploration vessels, heading out into the deep, quiet black, carrying no weapons, only curiosity and hope. It passed silently over the ocean, a tiny, bright symbol against the vast night. It was not running from anything. It was simply going. And for humanity, that was enough.